Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we're a couple days removed from the latest balance patch that saw Paladin, Druid got literally murdered, as well as Rogue got nerfed, and I put together, sifting through all the data on all the sites, the best decks to try and climb with, whether it's getting to like silver, gold, platinum, diamond, or legend for the first time across standard, wild, and I'm going to throw in some theory crafted lists for Twist, which starts its new season tomorrow, which is like commons only. These lists are grabbed from Corbett. I'll link his Twitter and all that down below. Give him a follow, and thanks for that. Again, I don't know if those decks will be doing great. He's a pretty good deck builder, so maybe give those a try. Again, it's just commons and all of that. If you enjoy the content on the channel, if you feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, it helps us out a lot as we're on the road to 80,000 subscribers. So starting off in standard, of course, the Barrels of Sludge, which somehow did not get nerfed. Despite it being one of the best performing decks. You look at HS Replay now, it's like the only tier 1 deck, at least at Legend it says. And if you take a look, this is a list from a Donkey that he hit rank 1 with. I think it's from Vicious Syndicate. And there's a bunch of different versions out there, but overall, what you want to do is play a 1-drop, play a Disposal Assistant or something on 2, then you want Forge of Wills into your 4 mana 7/7, which is pretty ridiculous. You also could just play your Sludge on Wheels, get more Barrels of Sludge at the bottom of the deck, and kill your opponent with insane damage from the latest mini set, Chaos Creation. All the mini set cards of Warlock are in this deck. Chaos Creation, Gloomstone Guardian, as well as Trog Gem Tosser. Like, that's why the deck is so good right now. It was already good when the mini set came out, and it just got so many incredible tools, and everything else got nerfed. So yeah, give this deck a try. It's one of the best ones out there. And if you're not playing the location Forge of Wills, then you cut Gloom Toss. It's just kind of there for some redundancy with that location. Next is the next best performing deck. You probably saw the screenshot there. Plague Death Knight, which is pretty good at reshuffling those Barrels of Sludge, right? Disrupting all of that, and it can be effective against all the draw decks, all the Reno decks, and is performing very, very well. Nothing really new added from the latest mini set that I can tell. But by the way, get your signature Cold Ball Miner. Looks so freaking good. And yeah, the deck plays the same way it is played since it's been introduced. Do have Magatha in here for some good card draws. Sylvanas if you want to steal stuff. And of course, Reska is an amazing card to, you know, steal units or minions and then bring it back with your Excavate reward. It's quite a fun deck to play, very popular. And again, you like auto beat so many of those Reno decks, and it can compete against Sludge Warlock. And then the other deck that I figure would be still really good, is really good, but not nearly as top tier as the other two decks we just talked about, is Aggro Demon Hunter with Blind Eye Sharpshooter, still at 3 mana. Yes, it has 3 health, but as you can see, this screenshot here can literally OTK you with like turns 4, and it's just ridiculous. And if you like this style of deck, it is still doing pretty well. Again, the win rate isn't super huge on it, not the easiest deck to play, but it does have the recently buffed Going Down Swinging to give you some AoE options. And yeah, you got the new mini set card in Quick Pick, which just gives you even more card draw, which is something this deck really, really wants. And this deck seems to be doing pretty well. I do think, by the way, that this deck, as well as Sludge Warlock, will get nerfed in the future, so be aware of that. If you're going to craft this, there's a good chance that Sharpshooter's going to get hit, and something in Sludge Warlock probably gets hit in the next couple of weeks. Excavate Paladin, still really good. This deck has not really fallen off much. It's not the best deck anymore, but it is certainly competitive. Even though Bookie Down is now 4 mana, you get that extra 1-drop, which is pretty darn nice. And it also makes Garden's Grace, which was nerfed, but pretty minimally, come down even cheaper. And the deck is basically the same as before, not all that much different. And you just play the new Excavate stuff in here, like Shroomscavate, Sir Finley, and play it the same way it did before, and it's still doing really well, but not as oppressive. But that'll probably piss off a lot of people who are sick of Paladin. No, this deck hasn't gone anywhere. It is still really solid. You'll notice the only Druid deck I'm recommending, although I think Train Druid's probably still good enough. You have the old Train Druid, really cheap deck, you can still play it, but Dragon Druid is probably the one to go with if you want to play a Druid deck. all the ramp Druid stuff, it's dead. It's just dead. They absolutely gutted it. But Dragon Druid, the only card that got nerfed is Cactus Construct, and the 1 health is not super duper relevant. It's still worth running the card. And yeah, you cheat out dragons, you buff up your dragon golems, whether it's Jarin Gardens, Take to the Skies, and then hope your opponent can't answer that. And you can draw a bunch with Malagos in the late game. You got some burst in there with Alexstrasza. Again, not a top tier deck, but definitely competitive and one you can take and climb with. Renathal Warrior, I've seen people like Theo play it, No Hands Gamer. It seems to be pretty competitive. One of the best control options out there. Control is not very good right now. It's really aggro and like mid-range based right now. But Renathal Control Warrior has been pretty solid. It doesn't do Bran or Reno, any of that, but you do have Odin in there for your win condition. You have your excavates and all that good stuff. So that's all in there, but overall, not really running too much new cards other than like Aftershocks, and maybe there's another card in here I'm not seeing, but overall, pretty much an older style deck, but for those control players out there, myself included, one that can be pretty good to play. Again, you're looking like 50% win rate at Legend. It's not doing incredibly well, but I gotta throw control options out there when I can. Rainbow Deathite. Yes, Rainbow DK has been trending pretty well. Like the win rate, even at Legend, pretty solid. So I got to throw a Rainbow DK list out there that seems to be kind of winning. Again, I don't know if it's the real deal, but Climatic Necrotic Explosions in the list. I've got the new Quartzite Crusher. That new weapon has seemed to be pretty good, helping out, and Mining Casualties as well. Really solid new card from the mini set. Again, the win rate looks good. People have been playing it quite a bit. The buffs to like Corpse Bride helping out a little bit. So maybe you want to give some Rainbow DK a shot. Again, I wouldn't go too crazy crafty, like, oh, it's super good crazy, but it seems to be winning and being competitive. So that's kind of refreshing to see. I'll throw out an Arcane Hunter list because Hunter I haven't really recommended in forever. I'm not sure this deck is all that great, but I'm just throwing it out there. It doesn't really even run to any of the new mini set cards, anything really new, but if you want to try out some Arcade Hunter, there is a list for you. Totem Shaman, another deck that always seems to be at a relatively high win rate at all ranks, even like Legend, Diamond through Legend, and it's got some stuff in here like basically Shroomskivate, trying to do the Paladin thing, making a really sticky, frustrating board that you can Bloodlust your opponent down, or if something like a Gigan Totem sticks, I think from below, you can like Jam Session, and then you can Shroomskivate and push an incredible amount of damage. Again, not a top performing deck, but one that I wanted to throw out there. And then lastly, I'm not recommending regular Reno, Pal, or Warrior because it's just not doing that great. But Glory, a former world champion, and see people take lists like this, have done pretty well with Reno Warrior. Runs a bunch of duplicates, and you want to rip through your deck, and then you could play Reno. You could play Bran and kill your opponent with Astalor. The reason this deck is possible now is the new addition of Needle Rock Totem. Gives you some card draw, but more importantly, Aftershocks is incredible with Acolyte of Pain. That draws a guaranteed 3 cards on that, and you might get that 4th as well. So you're able to rip through your deck pretty well. I've seen lists that are running like the 2-mana weapons so that they can play the 2-mana spell that breaks the weapon and draws even more. And I don't know how competitive it is, but it is something I thought, again, throw it out there, something different to try out with some of the mini set cards. And I mean, Glory's hit rank 1 with it, but he's one of the best players out there. I don't know how much merit to put to that, but again, wanted to throw that out there. And I didn't even include Naga Priest in this video, but I'll try and put a deck code for Naga Priest down below. That was what Meaty hit rank 1 with. That's been performing pretty well, but we'll leave it at 10 for the video purposes. But if you check the deck codes down below, I will throw a Naga Priest out there. For Wild will be a little bit more brief. Even Shaman, I recommend it. The first deck every time because it's really good. You know, it's got a couple new cards in here, at least one, the Needle Rock Totem, but you guys know the deal. Spam totems, buff them up, kill your opponent. The bots play it, they get Legend, sometimes high Legend. It's a problem, and even Shaman's really good, as has been Reno Shaman for a very long time, because Shutterwalk is a broken card, and looping it with Reno and all that stuff can be really solid. Dr. Holiday still worth playing, and yeah, it's just Shudderwalk has been good in Wild forever, and I'm always going to recommend it as long as that's happening. Shadow Priest is probably the best pure aggro deck in the format. Just play your 1-drops, go face, you lose or win really quick, so your games are also very quick, and just try and get that Void Touch to 10. This card is absolutely broken. You play that on 1, I swear you win most of your games, especially going first. It just pushes so much damage. We also have Reno Holy Wrath Paladin. I've seen people, multiple people get like top 10, top 20 legend with it. It's a lot of defensive tools, but you also have in here your Holy Wrath, Shirvallah, Molten Giant combo, which is all possible because of the way Order in the Court works. And of course you have Reno, all the Renos, Reno Jackson, Reno Lone Ranger, pretty sweet deck. One of the more fun ones to play out there in Wild, I think, and one you could give a shot. And then Renathal Warrior is another Reno deck doing really well in Wild. There's just way more defensive options for Warrior to utilize, where standard Warrior just doesn't have it. Of course, you have Reno Jackson, you know, himself, but Brand lets you just do a lot of busted stuff, of course. And yes, of course, in a Wild, Astalor is absolutely worth doing that combo for. Pretty busted, and definitely a deck that allows you to live a little bit longer than the standard version. And then we have the twist decks. Again, these are theory crafted decks from Corbett. They're not proven or anything, but something to try out maybe day 1 when it goes live. So again, you can only play common. So we have very limited draw, no real win conditions. It's just a lot of aggro decks. Like, it'll be interesting to see what people come up with, if it's going to be fun. But yeah, aggro Druid caps out at 3 mana, spam the board, Soul the Forest, you know, Savage Roar. I don't even know. I guess, yeah, Savage Roar is not even a part of it because that's part of Legacy. So yeah, it's just purely an aggro deck, as is Secret Mage. There's a bit more draw with Secret Mage because you have Mad Scientist and Arcanologist, and you can get like Fire Sales. I think he just has it in there purely just cycle because card draw is so limited. Mana Worms, your Firelands, Portals. So again, I don't know, this deck doesn't look amazing, but I don't know how much you can do with just commons. And then we have Aggro Paladin, same type of thing, play really early game stuff, buff it up. Bone Marrow feels like it'll probably be way too expensive for this deck, but hey, maybe it'll work out. And again, you're lacking win conditions and draw. It's just not really available in this format. Jade Rogue is probably one of the more likely decks to kind of work because you have really good early game that generate cards like Pharaoh Cat, Swashbuckler, the Lackey cards from Evil Miscreant. So this one looks a bit more promising to me. And then lastly, we have Zoo Warlock, which always thrives in these type of formats. And you got like Fungal Mancer, which was such a pivotal card for a long time. Evil Genius for Lackeys, and just a lot of good 1-drops in early games. So you can kind of get an idea of what that twist format likely is looking like. So again, thanks to Corbett for those decks, and hopefully you guys have good luck climbing. Share your suggestions in the comments down below for what's working for you. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.